What's going on? I'm Dave and this is Spencer, and welcome to Aftermath. Welcome back to Aftermath, the sportscast where we cover the 912 area. We are in the Final Four.
Man.
So we got three teams that made it to the Final Four, two separate brackets. We got Savannah Christian, Calvary in the 3A bracket, and we got BC in the 4A bracket, and we're going to break that down. But before we do, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Go ahead and follow us on Instagram. That's where we get all of our DMs, highlights, things like that. We are close to getting into the basketball season. We're not going to talk too much basketball this episode. We're going to focus just on football. So the first game, we got BC versus Stockbridge. Now, Stockbridge beat undefeated Spalding last week. They were led by a guy named Jaden Scott, had 163 yards, 3 touchdowns, and they seem to be a run powerhouse team. But on the other side, you got BC, which has been locked down all year. Their front seven's good. It's going to be front seven versus running backs and O-lines. Who you got?
Man, it sounds good for Stockbridge or whatever, but I got BC. BC's going for that three-peat, man. I want to say, I don't think a school's ever got a three-peat in any championship here in the city, like in any sport. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to do my research, but that BC's about to make crazy history. They about to three-peat, because I like them. They're going to win it all. Like, BC's going to win it all. But I love their linebackers are going to handle business. Wilkes Albert, Bryce Baker, Larson Little, like, they're balling right now. I don't see them slowing down anytime soon.
After taking out North Dakota last week, the number 2 ranked team, I don't see anyone stepping in their way. Now, Spalding last week that Stockbridge played, they were undefeated before this. But I think they're undefeated and BC's undefeated are a little different.
Yeah, I'm about to say, BC just has to just play their game. That's all they got to do. They just got to play their game.
So it should be a good one. Sadly, all these games are going to be out of town this week, which I don't know how we lost 3.
GHSA, and I don't know if other states does this, but I know GHSA does it. Man, that coin toss rule is stupid. What is the point of BC and Calvary busting all season to be 13-0? Calvary's 13-0 has to travel to 8-5 Cedar Grove. How does that make sense? That makes no sense at all.
BC, a 2-time defending state champ, has to
travel. Like, I don't care. There should be... Yeah, it makes no sense.
But anyways, so your pick for that one is going to be BC. But you were talking about three-peats. Cedar Grove was close a couple years back. They were close a couple years back. They are the real deal. They got 4 championships in the last 9 years. But they're taking on the undefeated Calvary this year.
Cedar Grove could have 5. They could have won last year in that controversial call against Sandy Creek because, I'm not going to lie, I know some of them boys over at Sandy Creek. I met some of them last year when they played against Savannah Christian. But, boy, the touchdown that they gave them at the end, that was not a touchdown. And there was still some time left on the clock, so Cedar Grove would have had to make another stop. But Cedar Grove definitely got robbed out of a championship last year. But, This is going to be a big game, man. Big game. I really wish it was in town because this is the revenge game for Calvary. They got blown out last year, 30-zip? Man. But I think this is the year. This is the year Calvary's going to do it. I feel like Jake's going to have a big game. Mm-hmm. You know that receiving core is about to do their thing. You got Caden. Thomas is coming back out for injury. You got Caden Arnold who's balling.
Can you do another 100?
For sure. He got to. Caden's going to get it.
Going.
I'm about to say, he has to. But defense has to be on point. Mm-hmm. Defense has to be on point. Last week was a good game for them. They needed to have some adversity, getting scored on for the first time in over 2 months, battling out in that first half. But then in the second half, whatever Coach Stroud said to them, Coach Stroud's halftime speeches have to be like, bro, I need to hear one of them because whatever he said tells them at halftime, they come back out and they're locked in. But
after the Savannah Christian game, 2 months of not being scored on, then it's a close game, and this one against Wesleyan.
We're only up 1.
Only up 1, and they came out, scored 3 touchdowns, shut down. I don't think they scored the second half.
If anything, they might have scored once. But
yeah.
But they just got to lock in because Cedar Grove is no slouch. Yeah. They're 8-5, but don't look at that record and think
those five are some real deal teams.
Yeah, Cedar Grove plays comp, and they have some legit talent. They have some legit coaches over there, and they're still championship pedigree over there. Like they were in the state championship last year, so there's a lot of boys over there who have that championship pedigree. So it's going to be a good one.
Should be a good one. And the last game of the weekend, Savannah Christian takes on Carver. Now, Savannah Christian, they're following the 400-plus rushing yard game. Can they continue the domination on the ground?
Man, this was a big week for Savannah Christian. Big shout out to Zoe Smalls, Kenry Wall, and Jada Miles.
And that O-line.
Just those three real quick. They just got their first offers this past a couple days ago. They should have had some offers.
Yeah, that's
but
ridiculous.
Hey, big shout out to those three. They definitely deserved it. You got Zoe and Kenry, who both have over 1,000 yards rushing. I want to say Kenry still has 500 receiving yards added to that. Jada Miles has 134 total tackles. Like, he's out there just hitting and smacking everything. So big shout out to those three. But like you said, also shout out to the O-line and D-line, because like we said in the last episode, they rushed for over 700 yards in the last 2 weeks and only given up, I don't even think they've given up 200 rushing yards in the last 2 weeks.
So, or something like that.
And they've been playing against some legit rushers. 2,000-yard rusher in Lumpkin County. So it's going to be a good one. I mean,
Carver they advanced last week in a close game against Monroe area. I don't know how good Monroe is, but I don't think they're Savannah Christian.
I just think, same like I've been saying with the other two, man, Savannah Christian's locked in. Like, ever since they lost that Calvary game, they haven't looked back. And people always like to go back to that Calvary game, that second half. People forget about the first half against Calvary. They were the only team, well, I guess this past week with Calvary too, because, they competed with them at the first half. But Savannah Christian, after that Calvary loss, they have looked like a legit state championship team. Yeah. Like, they have dominated everybody they were supposed to play. They've been on the road after the first week and been dominating. People were like, "Ooh, that Peach County game went into 4 overtimes. I don't think Savannah Christian's going to do something." Savannah Christian locked in.
And the scary thing is that, if I'm wrong, this wasn't even the year that we thought they were going, like, they're going to get better next year and the year after that, because this team's fairly young.
This is a young team. Man, yeah, I don't know. I didn't know where I expected Savannah Christian to be honest with you. State championship?
State championship. I expected a deep run in the playoffs, but
they were in the Elite Eight last year, and I definitely expected them to make it back to the Elite Eight. They're in the Final Four right now, but just looking at how they're moving, bro, like, I definitely see them making it to the state championship.
I think there's a very good chance that we have a Calvary Savannah Christian rematch in the state championship.
Man, and if it happens, GHSA, do not hold us out. Please,
we've been having some issues with that.
We're going to talk a little bit more
to the coaches. And
first, the boys got to handle business this week. If everybody handles business this week, we'll break down a little bit more of what's going on the Tuesday episode. But
because we're going to need some help. We're going to need some help from some coaches.
Ain't it, coaches, ADs?
All that work that we've been putting in all year, 27 episodes.
Come on, what?
We need y'all to help us out a little bit, but we'll talk about that once the tickets are punched, because that's the first step.
Facts.
But ultimately, it should be a good weekend. I expect all three of these teams to make it through.
I think they will.
I like the matchups. I like how they've been playing recently. No one looks like they're in a slump at all. They're all on a roll. But, I mean, the other people across the ball are in the same position. They are in the same spot. So, but ultimately, that is all we have for you this episode. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon, share with some friends. Go run the numbers up. The last few videos have been doing some good numbers.
Big numbers.
Go back, watch the last couple Aftermath videos. Catch up if you haven't. But until Tuesday episode, peace.